Travis Wayne Goodsell, assuming we don't die in the end of the world here with Armageddon, it's cool. It's necessary to now start trashing Democrats for their anti-American, anti-Constitution evils and corruptions. Now that Trump is out of office, or going out of office. Because remember, I am not for any party. The Constitution says in Articles 4 and 6 that we are supposed to be a constitutional republic. Not a socialist republic, not a representative republic. Definitely not a democracy. So that gives you a big lead-in to the types of issues that I will be trashing under a government run by all Democrats, controlling everything but the Supreme Court. So we'll see how they can tamper with that. First of all, Fox 13 News Utah on YouTube, uploading their video clips. Why is somebody allowing their kid to put their hand in the jelly beans? Get their hand out of the jelly beans. I want those jelly beans. It's a choking hazard. So keep them out of my jelly beans. I don't want their snot boogers on their hands onto my jelly beans. The actual story deals with Mattel. Mattel has unveiled Maya Angelou Barbie. Great, awesome. Unless it doesn't make them any money. What do they do then? Do they pull Maya from the shelves because it's costing them money, as nobody wants to buy her? Or are they going to be accused of being racist, which was why they made the Maya Barbie? What's going to happen? What do? Do they cave into peer pressure and take the business loss, hoping that the president will give them tax breaks for the loss of sales for trying to be racially appropriate? But is it racial? It's a toy. It's an idol. And we're in what's supposed to be capitalism, though it's more slavery. And so this then, if we perceive Barbie as no longer a toy, but a representation of a human being, and thus the need to color them, are we not promoting slave trade? I'm sure nobody thinks that way, it's just me. But yeah, I can understand. Kids attach themselves to certain dolls through an emotional attachment the younger they are. And even as we're older, we still get attached to certain little mementos that are given to us by someone who we thought loved us and then betrays us and abandons us. And how we end up with two of the same object when it was intended to each have one. But this is where Democrats destroy the economy. Is they push for what they claim is equality, but destroys businesses. And in the case of the toy, Democrat pressure to be more racially sensitive could end up costing Mattel. You know, it's like Coke Zero was a really bad choice for Coke. But they gave it a try, and they can pull it off the shelves and nobody would care. And just go back to the original. And then they try to pull Coke Original. Seriously, guys, come on. But when it deals with something other than with human beings, as we try to attach actual human beings to toys and dolls, we get all sorts of weirdness. I mean, originally Barbie got attacked by feminazis, who were body shaming Barbie. It's a doll. You don't want it to be anatomically correct. You want to leave that up for the parents to teach sex ed to your kids. Although apparently you can have anatomically correct dolls for adults. Some even vibrate. But I mean, my hell. Do you not understand this? In the beginning, Barbie was attacked for representing to girls unrealistic body images. And then you get women who then try to prove the feminazis right by going and get plastic surgery to look exactly like a Barbie doll. So that they can have their 15 minutes of fame. Oh yeah, I tried to look like a Barbie doll, and I've got this massive hole in my body. There was a plastic surgeon doing that, leaving big holes in people for liposuction and such. But my God. And then you get other substances that are deadly, like Botox, which should only be used for migraines, but people are using it to puff up their face, to make them look pretty, as they think. Again, body shaming. And this is where Democrats frustrate me, is because in their attempt to make all things equal and protect everybody from being, shamed and harmed in any kind of way, they end up doing more damage in the long run. Whether it's body shaming dolls to protect women, which then causes all sorts of insecurities with women in the process. You get Karens came from this. Democrats will produce a whole ton of Karens. It's just in a different form than the current Karen that calls the cops because she sees a black person. And you're going to get Karens for, oh, they don't have a black doll in this store. I'm shutting you down. Really? It's already been done here in Utah. There used to be a guy who was in a wheelchair, and so he'd go around business to business, and the ones that he can't get into easily with his wheelchair, he then sues for not being disabled, handicap accessible, or whatever it's called. And that was his lifestyle. That was his living. That was his job, to sue in court, to be a person who's regularly in court suing to maintain his lifestyle. And the Me Too movement, as much as it needed to happen because of the abuse of our government systems and economic systems, it got out of control. It needed to, but it got destroyed because of the abuses that were then followed with it. And what were those abuses? It taught us that our culture was designed to accuse and destroy somebody's life, to be the judge, jury, and executioner on social media, and not give victims or the accused their day in court, so that the victim can present evidence and that the accused can present evidence on their behalf as well, if they are innocent. And then you start getting men who come out and say, "Me too. It's not just women, it's me. Me too." And then you start getting a gay man who's a Hollywood celebrity decides to pay a couple of guys to beat him up and then claim that he was a victim of abuse for being gay. I'm sure you guys all remember that guy. I don't. I never saw his show. But again, that's what happens. Is Democrats go to the emotional extreme to prove their point. And that's why Republicans love to pick on AOC and the others, saying they're trying to take away our cows. They're not wanting you to have a hamburger. You can't force everybody to be vegan. You can't force people to be vegetarian. We're human. We're carnivores. Technically omnivores, because we eat both meat and vegetable stuffs. Some of us don't eat what was the macaroni and cheese commercial, Kraft mac and cheese. The boy says, "I'm allergic to all things green." The mother collapses at the sink. Priceless. But when you start trying to change systems without changing the system, you're going to have problems. You're going to have disastrous results. Similar to the Jesus parable of not putting new wine in old bottles, because the old bottle, and if you're unfamiliar with the old bottles, they were goatskin. But you can't just say, okay, now Democrats rule this nation, we're now making it a law that businesses must terminate the employment of any and all white males so that they can have diversity in the workplaces. Do you not understand what these white supremacists are chanting when they say Jews will not replace us? And then you have Democrats come in and replace them? Their worst nightmares are coming true. Now, they're wrong because their system sucks too. And that's why Democrats think that it's necessary to overpower them and put their people in power rather than the white supremacists who've been in power all these decades, centuries, millennia. That's not the answer. Because what we realize when Democrats will get their chance to overthrow white supremacy is that their system also sucks. And the system is what needs to be changed, not the people in the system. Hate the game, not the player. And until people come to that reality, it's going to get ugly, it's going to get worse. Because if we're able to suppress the violence that is coming upon us soon and go back to a Democrat lifestyle of instant change, we're going to instantly see the consequences. And what will happen is that Republicans and MAGAs, they're going to just lash out and go, see, Democrats have destroyed this nation. And they'll be right. But that doesn't mean that they need to go back in charge. It's not a dichotomy. Cut it out. So, leave Mattel alone. Let them decide what makes them money. Don't peer pressure them and cancel culture them to do what you want them to do. Because what you're now saying is that, well, Mattel just needs to advertise it to the right people. You know, that's what I saw after the Black Lives Movement got in full force, with police still beating them down for protesting, of which that's what they were protesting. I watched certain entertainment and news try to be more Democrat platform minded. And so all these movies with blacks started coming out. And news. Chris Matthews up and quit because of cancel culture. And said, today's journalism just isn't a fit for me anymore. They've canceled me out. And he quit on his show there at the beginning. They had to bring in a replacement at the last second. And then when they finally figured out who to put in his place, they denied Ali Velshi. Ali Velshi had 2 shows during the day. One was Stephanie Rule, and then one of his own, right before Nicole Wallace at 2 o'clock here in Utah time. And his show, what little I did see of it, was awesome because it dealt with economic stuff and other stuff, and learning about Ali Velshi. I learned, the guy is smart, not just experienced with news. The guy is literally smart and well qualified, well educated, and experienced. He had the 2 shows going, and now they tried to get him a weekend show, but they cancel cultured him. During the Black Lives Matter movement riots by the police against the Black Lives Matter protesters, he was shot. It was by a BB gun type thing or something like that. It wasn't an actual bullet, but he got shot live. And with all the sacrifices and all of the help he has given to MSNBC, they booted him out. He does fill-ins when people go on vacation and the weekend show, but that's it. And instead, they promoted Joy Reid. Joy Reid, yeah, she's good too. She doesn't have the experience and the education and the knowledge of Ali Velshi. Ali Velshi is more qualified. But MSNBC chose to follow the Democrat platform principle of, well, we need to show more sensitivity to black lives. And Joy's show was interesting in the beginning. She had a segment that she tried to make a permanent segment where Trump does, or that's the damnedest thing or something like that, and then she'd rip up the paper. And I like that segment. It's gone. She doesn't do that anymore. I guess somebody canceled that for her. But I don't have the interest in her information versus Ali Velshi's information. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Ali Velshi, he's not a white guy. And this is the problem with Democrats, is that they try to cater to society, trying to get a temperature read on what society wants, and they fail. Whereas businesses, and MSNBC is a business, it's part of NBC, they used to know through ratings, but it's a little different nowadays. And it's turned into a mess. And it's going to get worse when the 20th comes and goes as we survive the apocalypse, if we survive the apocalypse. Because you're going to see more and more of that type of thing. And there are some things that are good. Hopefully they can overturn the court's decision to require women to appear during a viral pandemic to get birth control pills. We are trying to get rid of a racist, sexist, bigoted, hateful insurrectionist from power, and the Supreme Court pulls that kind of stunt. It's like they don't learn. They keep resisting. They want women enslaved. They want women suppressed and oppressed. The only reason why women have to have birth control is because of conservative rapists. That whole Me Too movement thing, remember? They do it for their protection. They don't do it so that they can have sex and then kill the baby and then have sex again. Free sex! But it doesn't help when you have was it the 60s or the 70s, which was the free love era? I think it was the 60s. But Christian conspirators sure put a stop to that one as sexually transmitted disease went on the rise with the new disease that still has yet to be cured. And I heard on the news the month or two ago that they've been purposely holding back on an effective treatment for it just because. That also concerns me. And another thing that concerns me, I've got a long list, is that, remember how Republicans, conservatives, when it's a black guy involved in a shooting at a school or some other kind of terrorist activity, that they try to push for the death penalty, or at least prison. But if it's a white guy, they try to get him mental help Bill Clinton, for example. Oh, I have a sex disorder. It's an addiction. I need psychological help. And people fell for that. No. But Democrats, they want everybody to have psychological help. They don't want anybody punished for crime. And that pisses me off. Because what we're witnessing now is the results of a no-backboned Democrat Party who refuse to hold abusers accountable. What did you think the Me Too movement was all about? Just to get their frustrations out? No, they wanted people held accountable. And so I've never believed the woman formerly called my first wife, who said that she just wanted. No, we won't get into it. I want to finish this up so I can watch Alison Krogan. She doesn't get too many spots on YouTube, so this is a rare one. I was in communication with her for a little while. She got kind of upset with me when I called her the weather girl. She's very specific, and it's is it climatology? Can't remember which. It's the less of the preeminent positions. But she tries to beef up the title. Kind of cute. And I notice she doesn't have a ring anymore. What happened with your boyfriend? But yeah, the other new girl that swooped in and took over, can't remember his name, he was a chief meteorologist, and decided to quit the day after making a joke with Hope Woodside and Dan Evans, I guess is his name, and Hope didn't laugh at his joke, and then the next day he's gone, and he quit to be a full-time coach for his kids' basketball team. He's the chief meteorologist. Yeah, meteorologist, different from what she is, which is, I think, a climatologist or something like that. Big difference. And so, yeah, he gave up the money, because I'm pretty sure being a coach for your kids' team doesn't pay well. Yeah. So he got cancel cultured out. And some new girl from Oregon came swooping in, and then she realized, oh, I'm hot? I better put a ring on my finger to chase people away. Oh, that's not working? I have to actually get a real boyfriend? What do you mean the boyfriend's not good enough? I have to marry the guy? Then people will leave me alone? Yeah, Allison got booted out of that position if she even tried for it. But again, I don't think she qualifies. You have to be a meteorologist. Alrighty.